Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Tech Trends. I'm Olayemi Oshidendi. On the program this week, an edtech startup is shaking up the learning space. NEDI is using AI to help more people transition into tech. Now we turn the spotlight on the boy child. Young boys across Lagos get hands-on with digital skills at the Tech Up Boys Bootcamp. Also coming up later, why do some startups thrive while others fail? Zainab Aziz, a project manager with experience working with startups, joins me to share insights on building for growth, funding and expansion. We'll give you more of those in just a moment. Do stay with us. This is Tech Trends and I'm Olayemi Oshidendi. People who are digital natives, they want to have real-time performance feedback. They want to understand where they are, what might happen, what the future is, and they want to understand that quickly in a very direct conversation. The edtech space is rapidly evolving, and one startup is making bold moves with artificial intelligence. NEDI, an edtech platform dedicated to helping people learn tech skills or transition into tech careers, is shaping how learners access guidance and support through its AI product, Allies.
Hi, my name is Samuel.
Hi.
From a simple idea to solve problems around them, these two young innovators are now on a mission to transform how Africans learn and grow in the digital space.
Hi, my name is Samuel Linus.
And hi, my name is Franklin Manuel.
And we are the founders of NEDI.
NEDI is a software development company and an edtech platform focused on equipping African entrepreneurs with the digital skills they need to thrive, from software development to digital marketing and more.
I have this mantra that I always use anytime I want to solve any problem. So the mantra is solve local problem with global impact. So I want to solve a problem around my vicinity, around my state, around my country, then my continent, and hopefully to the world.
I'm an entrepreneur. I focused on building sustainable solutions for African entrepreneurs. We've actually been working around this as a focus on NEDI as well, and we have looked at a series of areas where we can actually create products that will definitely help the African entrepreneur as well as its ecosystem to become better over time.
Allies is the company's major step into artificial intelligence. Built for course creators, it blends the power of AI with the strength of human communities.
We realized the power of community, so we're working on this particular product. So Allies is an AI-powered platform for course creators who want to teach people, educate people, but they want to do that in a community, right? And we're giving them the ability to do that through Allies, but this time around, making use of AI to make their life easier and better.
At its heart, Allies is an AI assistant for learning communities, helping course creators manage tasks, generate pages, and engage students more efficiently.
Globally, there is the need for people to become more skilled beyond their classroom. NEDI has decided to focus on this outside of classroom skill education system, where we actually impact this out of school, people to be able to help them manage their skills and also to help them create better revenue streams for themselves as they go out in the market.
Right now, you should be able to have an AI tutor that can teach you everything about digital marketing, teach you everything about content creation, teach you everything about even how to code, right? But at the same time, even when AI can teach you, if you're learning alone with the AI without human interaction, you will lose that motivation. And that is why we plug in community to ensure that even though you can interact with AI, learn with AI, you can still have that ability to build real rapport with real humans like yourself.
And it doesn't stop there. Beyond just automation, NEDI is training its users to engage with AI more effectively, teaching them how to get the most out of prompts while training the AI to respond intelligently in real learning contexts.
When you have an AI system, there is something we call prompts, and the prompt basically would help AI generate better feedbacks. Now, in this case, we have people who are not able to create series of prompts that will give them useful response from the AI tools. And what we've basically done here is to, one, teach the students around how to generate better prompts to get better answers, and two, help the course creator and coaches to also train these AI systems to respond based on certain keywords in this particular area.
The AI is plugged into the community feature to act as an AI assistant for the course creator, right? So the AI assistants now help the course creator to send message, provide valuable resources to their community, just handle everything a community manager would normally do, but this time an AI is the one doing that. So the AI can also generate landing pages, sales pages as well, for the course creator, just to ensure that the course creator life is easier, managing the community and training these people that they are training, and even the students too as well can also leverage on the AI capability to as well ask questions, ask the AI questions, get feedback on what you're learning, and so on and so forth.
From local problems to global solutions, NEDI is showing how African innovation powered by AI and community can help shape the future of learning. For them, the true innovation is about something deeper, and that's restoring connection in an increasingly digital world. Often when we talk about empowerment, the focus tilts heavily towards the girl child. But this time, the spotlight is on the boys. For 8 weeks, young boys from public secondary schools across Lagos State participated in the Tech Up Boys Boot Camp, an intensive program designed to equip them with future-ready digital skills.
Actually, those who are sitting in the middle, make sure everyone has done it.
For 8 weeks, the spotlight shines on the boy child, helping them uncover their hidden potentials and preparing them for a tech-driven future. More than 5,000 boys from public secondary schools across Lagos, a project of the Lagos State Public Service Staff Development Center in partnership with the Lenter Foundation. The boys go through an intensive training in digital skills, aligning them with the needs of the 21st century. This is all in a bid to empower the young males to become creators and innovators.
It's important that we focus on the boy child right now, not tomorrow, right now. And there's a hot demand in terms of ensuring that the boy child is empowered, learn the relevant skills that can change the trajectory of their lives. And why? What we are doing is, Lento on its own is a tech organization that trains people in tech. But the foundation needed to bridge the gap and empower the community and get boys to develop tech skills that can make them competitive. I see the trend of lokoshe, go and learn a trade. I feel is a major glass ceiling over the boys. When I go to the school, I say, point me one of the politicians or our leaders that their children are kosheing. I'm not saying kosheing is bad. You need to understand the context. But a lot of them go to Harvard, they go to Yale, they go to Oxford, then come and learn a trade to support whatever they are doing. But they have the education that exposes them to that community. And that's why these boys need to learn the skills that can make them competitive.
If you look at the crime rate and what is going on right now, boys are subsumed into a lot of crime in the society. And so we feel it is important to upskill boys or skill them, teach them, give them skills that can make them become responsible. Now, regarding what we've done so far, this is just like a crash program. Ideally, it should have taken us about a whole week. And what we've done really is the basics, the intro. We've only just done the intro, introduced them to basic tech skills and other soft skills. Of course, they say a lot of journey. We're going to group them, move them into a WhatsApp group, some into Telegram, where we'll continue the mentoring and the teaching. And we're very certain that before the end of this year, we'll have been able to train 5,000 boys who are comfortably working with digital and tech skills.
The training combines technical learning with leadership, emotional intelligence, and life readiness, preparing the boys not just for jobs, but for the real world.
I've learned how to utilize Excel in my daily life because we don't spend wisely in Nigeria. So using Excel now will help navigate through your spending. And also I've learned about digital footprint. I've learned that whatever you throw online will definitely come back to you. So you must ensure that you have a good digital footprint, be able to get jobs and works online.
First, I've gained the importance of keeping a good social media footprint, how to expose myself to the world in a positive way. Also, I've been taught the introduction to Excel. It's an app where people such as data analysts, data scientists, and also mathematicians work. And also we taught emotional intelligence, how to cope with people around. And to talk with these kids, we are taught LinkedIn optimization. So LinkedIn is a platform where it's a job connect platform where we show people what you do and what you have done so far.
I'm really happy that I had this opportunity to learn Excel, most especially because imagine how you just go out, spend lavishly, you just give, and most times you don't count. You spend in the way that you don't even remember what you spend. But with Excel, you can monitor every of your income, savings, and sales out there. And also, I'm happy to say that I can go out there, help my mom, my parents, my friends, and everyone out there with their little business. I will manage it, and they would not lack any loss.
What text do you need to turn to an upper text? What text? January, right?
Supported by the Lagos State government and other stakeholders, the program is not only equipping boys with digital skills, but also giving them a competitive edge in today's job market.
We went to 16 schools, so the approval from the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education gives us coverage across the entire schools. So we went to 16 schools, we trained 5,600 boys. 16 schools, 5,600 boys in Agege and Ifakojaye zone. Then once we were done, as of July, we now converged them online in Telegram. We started training them online for 4 weeks. Emotional intelligence, data analytics, leadership skills, and ability to be able to introduce to Excel. So coming to PSSDC is a practical. We didn't come here to train. We came there to show them how they can work with Excel. When the internship starts, we're going to still continue to follow up.
Okay. B1. So go to B1. B1.
Is anyone struggling?
B1. And close the bracket and enter.
For these young boys, the journey is just beginning. From data analytics to social media and LinkedIn optimization, as well as learning leadership skills, the Techo Boys Bootcamp is planting seeds of possibility, ensuring the boy child is not left behind in the digital future.
Everybody shout Kings!
Kings! Tech entrepreneurship is one of the most exciting yet challenging spaces today. For every startup that breaks through, many others struggle with questions around funding, growth, and sustainability. So what really makes the difference between success and failure? And how can founders position themselves for long-term impact? Joining me to unpack this is Zainab Aziz, a project manager with years of experience across fintech, startups, and consulting. Let's start from the basics, Zainab. From your experience, what really makes the difference between a startup that succeeds and one that struggles?
I would say, thank you for that question. Let's start off with that. I would say that a startup that succeeds is one that pay attention to the users. So their core is their users, regardless of how they have decided to do it or the team. The most important thing is they are focusing on the users. The pain points of the users is what their focus is. While the startup that fails is more prioritizes their vision more. So everybody wants to be a tech founder and that vision is personal, but it's not user related. You're not solving a problem. If you're not solving a problem as a tech company, that's the beginning of failure.
Talking about solving problems, Zainab, many people do have great ideas, but execution is usually the hard part of it. What would you say are the key building blocks these founders should put in place early on to increase their chances of success?
Execution is heavy on people, I would say. If you have the right team in place, you're on the right path to executing a proper project. Culture. The culture you imbibe in your team members determines how far your product goes or your project goes or the success rate. Of course, we cannot overemphasize where money comes in. We need money, right? If you do have money, you know your burn rate as a company, you ensure that your expenses are not more than your revenue. You balance it, your execution will definitely go on fine because you're doing it right. You're doing production well. Marketing is going on okay. And beyond just launching a product, I always say startups can start up with launching an MVP. An MVP is a minimum viable product. That's the first phase of the product. And then you can, from time to time, develop and iterate until you get to the overall big picture. But it's okay to start small. If startups can start doing it small, slowly but surely, they say, if they can start doing it small, then I think that's a very clever idea to executing properly.
But on the flip side, there are some sad statistics that a couple of startups, don't survive beyond the first few years. I mean, we've seen situations where some of the startups, come with all the trumpets. And the first couple of years, we hear about them, raising money, seed funding, and all of that. And even sometimes, expanding. But later down the line, we see them packing up. Some would say it's about funding. Others would say it's about leadership or the market itself. Now, Zainab, if you had to rank the top 3 failure points, what would they be?
That would be first off, when there is no product market fit, because that's the core. Let's start with that. When a company is running out of cash because you were spending so much on marketing, on hiring people. Now, it's good to hire people. You need the talent to develop the product anyway. But sometimes you don't need to hire a huge person. Tech people are not cheap. Let's know that tech is not cheap. And you're burning cash when you keep putting money down the drain. Right. Thirdly, I would say is when your team is misaligned, when there is conflict of interest, when the CEOs are not aligned, when team members are listening to XYZ, listening to somebody else tomorrow, there's always a change of vision. There's always a change of product scope. That automatically, when the team is not working, everything would not work. When the product doesn't fit the market, there's a problem. And when you're running out of cash, I think those 3 are my major points for that question.
And at what point should a founder, start thinking seriously about scaling? Because some people begin to have that conversation too early, but at what time should they start thinking and talking about it just so they don't miss the right opportunity? Because there has to be that point where they can say, this is the time for us to expand.
Yeah. And thank you for that, Olayemi. Scaling is key. The plan is to grow, to make money, to solve a problem. But before you can scale, I always say, what is your product doing? What problem is your product solving? Who is your product catering to? Who are those using your product? Are you making money even when you are paying attention to one locality around you? If you start off with the island, let's use a food business, for example, a food delivery business, for example. Imagine that the island is your major market and you haven't even conquered the island yet. You're already thinking of going to the mainland. That's another ball game. Or you've not finished with Lagos. You're thinking of going to Abuja. If you have not conquered one, there's no point moving on to the other one, right? So I would say the first stuff, of course, the product. When you have a good product, when you are solving the problem of the problem of the state or wherever you're working in, what's the unit economics? Let me break that down. What's the cost of acquiring one customer? Does it make sense? What's the worth? What is the numbers? Numbers is important. Whoever is investing in your business, when you are thinking of scaling, wants to see your numbers, your productivity. Is it profitable? Even if it's okay for your business not to be profitable at the first year or so, but what are the numbers looking like? Is it promisable? And thirdly, I would say, are your processes repeatable? Now, let me explain that if you do not mind. If you've established Lagos and you have a process that works, there's always room for process improvement, don't get me wrong. But if you have a process that works and you move on to the island, you move on to Abuja, it's okay to replicate that process without the founders trying to micromanage the team. If you have a repeatable process that can be replicated across the different localities or states in Nigeria, then we can now start about scaling. That way, you've cut down on micromanaging people. You can use your time to do something else, right? You can start thinking about scaling at that point. Yeah, I think that'll be it.
Interesting points you made there, Zaina, but let's go back a bit to funding, which we spoke about earlier. Funding is always a big topic for startups. I mean, tech startups, entrepreneurs, all of them. It's a major hurdle that needs to be scaled. And we hear a lot about, equity investments, but debt funding is becoming more common now. What should some of those startups consider before going down that road?
Let me start off by explaining debt funding and then equity. Debt funding is like when you have a repayment structure in place, when you have a payment plan. You owe money to investors or wherever you borrowed the money from or companies. But equity, you're giving away ownership. You say, okay, take 5% shares or stock off of my company. That way, you're drawing them in. You're not the only one bearing the risk of the business. But if it's debt, you're gonna have to pay the money. There's a repayment plan in place. You have to meet up and fulfill, right? When you do equity funding, I'm always a fan of that, but it depends on what you are doing. Sometimes debt funding is a good way to go, particularly if the need at that time is just temporary. But when you do debt funding to pay salaries, to pay rent, to sustain tech, yeah, you will just go down the drain. So I always say to founders that I've spoken to friends and colleagues, debt funding is good temporary. It solves it temporarily because there is a repayment structure in place. If your revenue is not strong, if it's not steady, you're going to find yourself in a huge debt. And you and I both know that people don't play with their money. So equity, you're sharing ownership, like I said. But debt funding, you're paying debt. Now, for equity funding, investors are calmer with you. They are patient with you. They believe in the dream, the vision, and the problem you're trying to solve. But for debt, they don't know what you are doing. They just know that you have come to them for money. And of course, some of them will even put interest, but you're at risk of that and you bear the risk yourself. Whatever works for a whatever works for a company depends on the research that the founders have put into it and their decision. But honestly, if a company is at the early stage, let's do equity funding, please. But if you have a steady flow of income and all of that, we can then do debt funding. However, it all depends on the customer, but that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I think I can agree with some of the reasons that you've highlighted, because some founders perhaps fear debt because of, apart from the fact that there's the repayment pressure, it's just like, you do not fully own your company until all of the money has been repaid. But I guess they can just try to manage those debts responsibly. Now, we'll be talking again about expansion, which is like the dream for many startups, right? Whether locally or, trying to get into other markets or regions. What are the right signals that a startup is ready to expand?
Thank you. One of them would be your product solves a problem. Like I've always said, product is the core. If your product solves a problem, your users are using it. It's not just about refer and earn. Come and take 50 naira or $20 when you refer somebody. But when they refer and the person comes on, are they staying? What's the retention strategy, or what's the retention rate of your customers? If they are staying, yes, let's carry on. But if they're not staying, you want to do your research again and start all over again, which is fine. You also want to check if the processes or the systems can run without founders being in place. So when the founders are elsewhere pitching to investors, can this product sustain itself? Can the team manage themselves? Can they go and replicate this process somewhere else or in another country? Before you go to another country, you want to be sure that you've got your own country right first, right? You want to start looking at the licenses required. to launch in a different company. So I think these are some of the things that customer needs, a tech founder needs to check to be sure. These are the signals you need to check to be sure that, okay, we are actually ready to expand. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to understand the market in where you are at the moment. And then when you are going on to the next one, it's not about XYZ tech company has now launched in Ghana. It's good. However, are you solving the problems of users in Ghana? Do they even want you in their country? So rather than spending so much money on that product in Ghana, why not fix your current country, and let's see where that takes you before you start considering scaling?
Oh, well, you've shared a lot of insights with us on the program, Zainab Aziz. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your knowledge with us on the program.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me, Alaim. It was good to meet you. Thank you.
That's a wrap on this week's episode of the program. I hope you enjoyed the episode and picked up something new along the way. Remember, Tech Trends is here to keep you updated on insights, trends, and developments happening in the tech space. Also, don't forget, you can catch all our episodes on the channel's TV account. Make sure to watch, share, and like your favorite editions. For Tech Trends, I'm Olayemi Oshidende, and I'll see you next time.